Hello everyone. Welcome to another interesting and informative session of the Analyst. In today's video, we are going to discuss in detail about 5 important topics as featured in the Hindu and Indian Express for your larger understanding of the current affairs. The topics are as follows. We will begin our discussion today by inquiring about the status of gig workers in the country and issues being faced by them. Then we will study about the grave issue of zero food children, which is dampening India's demographic dividend. After that, we will try to understand about the new highway toll collection system about to be launched by the Government of India. It will be followed by the study of Project Cheetah, recently seen in the news, and associated Kuno National Park in the state of Madhya Pradesh. Towards the end, we will read about the features of Advanced Medium Combat Aircraft AMCA. The handout for the discussion will be available in the description of the video for your effective revision. So let's begin. As per a recent report, the gig workers in India suffers from lack of any social security benefits provided to them by the government. These issues of gig economy and various challenges being faced by the gig workers form an important component of your GS3 paper under the theme of industrial policy and the issues related to development. Before inquiring about the issues related to the gig workers, let's first try to understand the status of gig economy in our country. The gig workers are basically the workers who work in free market ecosystem where these workers hold temporary positions. And these workers are hired by the companies on contractual basis for short-term engagement. Thus, as per Social Security Code 2020, these gig workers falls outside the traditional employer-employee relationship. Thus, these gig workers are broadly classified into two categories, the first being the platform workers who basically work upon an online app or a digital platform, such as a food delivery boy working for Zomato or a cab driver working for Ola. Then the second category is of non-platform worker who work for casual wages in traditional industries, either in part-time jobs or in full-time jobs. For example, the person who delivers the water can at your homes falls in the non-platform worker category. As per a Niti Aayog report on gig economy, India currently has the 5th largest flexi workspace, comprising of such gig workers after countries such as US, China, Brazil and Japan. Then as per the report, India is going to have these gig workers of around 23.5 million jobs by the year of 2030. Then they are going to contribute to the 56% of every new employment which is being generated in our Indian economy. Thus, these gig workers has the potential to add up to 90 million jobs in the non-farm sector and contribute to 2% of the GDP by the year 2030. Currently, out of these gig workers, the majority of them are employed in personal services, followed by construction and real estate, and then transport and logistics, and further manufacturing, retail, etc. Thus, we can see that these gig workers hold a prominent position for India to achieve its aim of becoming the third largest economy. But at the same time, these gig workers are facing several hardships and challenges on the road, such as the one being that they are provided with no security cover. Now keep this in mind that even though the Social Security Code 2020 recognizes these gig workers as a separate occupational category, but at the same time, such mere recognition does not translate into any kind of social security cover. For example, they have been kept out of the ambit of some important acts such as Minimum Wages Act 1948 and Occupational Safety Code 2020. Which means that if you are a gig worker, you cannot claim for a minimum wage from your employer, and at the same time you will not be compensated for any occupational hazard if it is going to harm you. Then there exist several leukemas within this Social Security Code. As we have seen that it recognizes these gig workers for several benefits such as maternity benefit, old age cover, provision of pension, provident funds, etc. But such mere recognition does not translate into any guarantee, which means that there is no guarantee that all these provisions will be provided to these gig workers. And the major cause of that is because the labor as a category under 7th schedule falls under concurrent list, which means that various state governments can frame their own laws and provide these gig workers with varying degree of social security benefits. Thus, there is no such uniform law which exists in our country to regulate the gig economy. Then the second challenge is that the Social Security Code establishes a joint responsibility of central, state and platform aggregators to provide welfare measures to these gig workers. But at the same time, the Act has not laid down any quantum of responsibility measures which all these stakeholders shall take. Also, these gig workers cannot avail any remedy against their employer under the Industrial Dispute Act 1949. And further, they have no right of collective bargaining. What does it mean? It means that these gig workers cannot form any legally recognized trade union under Trade Union Act of 1926. Thus, these gig workers faces various kind of challenges such as partners arm twisted by the service providers, difficult to trust a service provider without a recommendation. Then there exist challenges for the government such as this sector is highly unregulated and it has lack of policies on job structure, tax, privacy, etc. Over and above this, all these issues compound and lead to the case of diminishing return, where these gig workers work in strained condition for meager salaries without any job security or insurance or pension. At the same time, denial of all these services lead to work under exploitative conditions which amounts to forced labor and thus violate the fundamental right of this gig worker under Article 23. Then these private companies lead into the practice of profit maximization where either they underpay these workers or lead to non-payment at all. as it was seen in the case of the recent strike of workers who worked for an e-commerce app called as Blinkit. All these issues has also brought to the forefront because there has been a recent report released by the Indian Federation for App-Based Transport Workers, which has showcased that 33% of these workers work for more than 14 hours a day, and almost 60% of the workers work for more than 12 hours. Then 34% of the workers work for a meager salary of less than 10,000 rupees a month. And all this is further compounded by the social inequality because as per the report, 60% of the worker belong to the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe category. Thus, these social inequalities and income disparities compound and aggravate the situation of vicious cycle of poverty for these gig workers, creating the conditions of severe distress, to address which the government has taken several steps in this regard. For example, under the Code on Social Security 2020, it mandatory provides for the compulsory registration of workers. At the same time, it directs the central and state government to formulate social security schemes to provide various kind of benefit measures to these gig workers. On this very line, the government of Rajasthan became the first state in India to launch Gig Worker Rights Act, which provides for a welfare fund for these gig workers and at the same time establishes a welfare board which comprises of these gig workers, platform aggregators and civil society workers to solve any case of civil disputes. The government has also taken several other steps such as providing social security benefits to the unorganized sector workers under PM Shram Yogi Mandhan, under which the government aims to provide pension to unorganized sector workers whose monthly income is below 15,000 rupees. Under this, there will be a small monthly contribution provided by these gig workers which will be matched by the government's contribution. And the scheme aims to benefit 10 crore laborers and the workers in unorganized sector. Even though these steps are very much in the right direction, as we have seen, the situation of these gig workers has not improved significantly. And for that purpose, several more steps becomes imperative. For example, we aim to strive to provide decent work for all as envisaged under the Sustainable Development Goal 8. And for which purpose we shall try to skill these gig workers under various schemes such as Kaushal Vikas Yojana. Then we need to recognize these gig workers under the Unorganized Workers Act 2008 to provide them with various kind of social security benefit such as maternity benefit, pension, provident fund, old disability covers, etc. Also, we need to recognize their rights of right to equality under Article 14 and their right to dignified life under Article 21 by providing them several kind of social security benefits and ensuring their rights with various kind of legal frameworks. Then we need to introduce a Platform India initiative, and we also need to increase their access to formal credit under PM Mudra scheme, so to promote startup culture among these gig workers. Also, we need to do the capacity building of civil society organizations such as Shram Vahini and the trade unions such as Indian Federation of App-based Trade Workers to strengthen their voice at political forums. Over and above this, the issue and the welfare of gig workers can be brought under Corporate Social Responsibility Fund. All these steps are imperative to improve the condition of gig workers who form the backbone of India's informal economy. For this purpose, we can also adopt the global best practices from countries such as Germany and Singapore, and the state government shall make it very important to create measures under Social Security Code 2020. With these suggestions, we move forward to the next news of the day. A recent study highlights the alarming prevalence of hunger in the children aged between 6 to 23 months in India, thus highlighting the issue of zero food children, which forms an important component of your GS2 paper under the theme of issues related to poverty and hunger. So let's first try to understand what do we mean by zero food children, who are basically the children aged between 6 to 23 months who have not eaten any food of substantial calorific content, meaning they have not eaten any fresh milk or semi-solid formula-based food for infants in the last 24 hours or for whole one day. Now this category is very critical because after 6 months of age, the breastfeeding by mother alone is insufficient to meet the nutritional requirement of the child. At the same time, this is also the formative period of the child, which is very important for its overall growth and development. However, as per the report, let's say if there are 100 children aged between 6 to 23 months in India, 19 out of them suffers as zero food children, which shows the high deprivation of food and the issue of hunger existing among children in our country. With this percentage, India ranks third in the world after Guinea, which has 21.8%, and Mali, which has 20.5%. But keep this in mind that with staggering 6.7 million children as zero food children, India has the highest burden of this issue. Also, this issue of prevailing hunger in our country is also reflected from our abysmal ranking in the Global Health Index 2023, where India ranked 111th out of 125 countries, with child wasting rate of 19%, which basically means that they have low weight for their height, showing the issue of undernutrition. Now, out of this 6.7 million zero food children, 28% of them are present in the state of Uttar Pradesh, 14% in the state of Bihar, 7% in Maharashtra, and 6% each in the state of Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh, thus showing that this issue of undernutrition and hunger has become a major problem for our country and is impacting our demographic dividend. There are several causes for such zero food children, such as poverty and marginalization. For example, as per Multidimensional Poverty Index 2023 released by UNDP, in India there exist more than 23 crore multidimensional poor people who lack resources to provide adequate nutrition to their children. At the same time, with rapid urbanization and industrialization, there has been rise of nuclear families, which has broken the traditional care system which existed in the joint families. And in this nuclear families where everyone is busy in their work, there is no one beside the mother of the children to give ample amount of time and energy for the nutrition of these small children. Also, there exists a lack of awareness about what kind of nutritious diet is required for the children for their optimal growth. And this issue is also reflected in the hidden hunger or micronutrient deficiency which prevails among these children, where these children keep on eating the staple cereal based diet which is not supplemented by fruits and vegetables to provide them enough amount of amino acid which is required for their hormonal growth. At the same time, there exists time poverty which compounds these issues. By time poverty, we mean that the woman of underprivileged economic background has to go for work to supplement the meager salaries of their families. And thus, they do not have adequate time at their disposal to take care of the nutrition of these children. Then there is the rising issue of climate change. Because of global warming and El Nino impact, the food production has been impacted in several regions across the country. Because of which the extreme weather events which are taking place such as drought, floods, cyclones, all this is causing extreme deprivation and hunger among the low income families. And to further complement all of this, there exists the bureaucratic apathy or the lack of effective implementation of policies such as integrated child development services or national health mission. Thus, all this has reflected in the high number of zero food children which exist in our country. To address which, the government has taken several steps, such as launching the National Food Security Act 2013, which provides the legal right to 75% of rural population and 50% of urban population to avail subsidized food and grains under targeted public distribution system. Also, the government has launched Poshan Abhiyan, where it aims to increase the nutritional level of children and women to reduce the issues such as stunting, wasting, and high prevalence of anemia among the women. The government has also launched midday meal scheme to increase the nutritional level among the school-going children. Also, there exists Matru Vandana Yojana, which is basically a maternity benefit program, and it provides for 5,000 rupees in installment for further phases of care for the pregnant mother and the infant child. The government also provides for food fortification under Food Safety and Standard Act 2006, where we do the addition of iron, zinc, iodine, vitamin A and D to staple food such as rice, milk, salt, etc. to increase their nutritional levels. Also, the Eat Right movement has been launched by FSSAI to bring behavioral changes among the citizens of the nation to adopt healthy eating practices. However, thumping our chest for being the fifth largest economy in the world does not hold reasonable ground when the future of India sleeps in hunger. Thus, immediate reformative steps in this direction seems to be the need of hour. With this thought in our head, we move forward to the next news of the day. The Ministry of Road Transport and Highways is planning to implement a new highway toll collection system which will be based upon global navigation satellite system. This forms an important component of your GS3 paper under the larger theme of infrastructure and sub-theme of roads. So before we study about the provisions of this new highway toll collection system, let's first try to understand the existing toll collection system which is based upon FASTag. So the question arises that what is FASTag? FASTag is a reloadable, readable tag which allows for automatic deduction of toll without the need to stop the vehicle to perform cash transactions which we used to do earlier prior to the arrival of FASTag. Now, FASTag works upon radio frequency identification technology, where it uses radio waves to read the information available on the tag which is attached on the vehicle. Now keep this in mind that there is no need of this vehicle to be in the line of sight as it is required in the barcode scanners when we do the Paytm transactions on daily basis. At the same time, this RFID has a read range of 40 to 100 feet and it can simultaneously read the tags of more than 100 to 1000 vehicles simultaneously. Also, it provides for complete automation as it does not require any human involvement. Thus, with such benefits, RFID-based FASTag was introduced under Section 136A of Motor Vehicle Act 2019. So, if you are not using the FASTag to commute on the national highways, then you will be required to pay twice the toll amount under National Highway Fees Rules 2008. Now, the central government has time and again contested in the Supreme Court that such mandatory uses of FASTag, which was implicated from the year 2021, does not violate the fundamental right of freedom of movement guaranteed under Article 19. Since its inception in 2019, the FASTag has significantly improved, which is reflected from its penetration range of up to 98% from 16% in fiscal year 2019, which means that 98% of the commuters on highway are using this FASTag, which has contributed to the tax collection of more than 33,000 crore in the fiscal year 2023. However, despite such significance, there are various drawbacks which are associated with the FASTag, such as these tokens or tags which are placed on the windscreen of the car can be easily misplaced, damaged or stolen. At the same time, remember that India is a tropical country where we have several regions which faces high rainfall, which again can damage these tags or tokens, or it can reduce the ability of RFID to read these tags. Then the waiting time has not been able to reduce, because even now these vehicles need to stop for these RFID to read the tags which are placed on the cars. Thus, the whole idea of saving the time is completely defied. Then there exist technical glitches, because several users have complained that these tolls are deducted twice or thrice from their linked bank accounts. At the same time, it has not led to the reduction of toll booths, and thus a person who is traveling for a very short distance as well has to cross several toll booths and pay several kinds of tolls. Thus, the whole idea of reducing the logistic cost and the overall commutation time has not been fulfilled as it was envisaged when the FASTag was launched. Thus, to address these issues, the government is planning to launch a new highway toll collection system, which will be based upon the global navigation satellite-based system, for which India has Gagan. Gagan is basically a constellation of satellite which can map and provide the navigate information of the user. And to implement this system, as per the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, we are going to devise an on-board unit, which is basically a kind of a tracking device which will be fitted inside the vehicle. And thus it will facilitate the Gagan to map and locate this vehicle in real-time conditions. And Gagan offers approximately accuracy up to 10 meters. Thus, with this, we will be able to track the vehicle and calculate the accurate distance which has been traveled by the vehicle on the national highway, and we are going to charge the user only for that distance. For this purpose, we need to coordinate the whole national highway and create logs out of it, which we are going to do by using digital image processing. Then this new highway tax collection system is going to work upon pay as you use principle, where there will be a specific software to allocate toll rate on particular highways, then to calculate the toll amount as per the distance traveled by the user, and it will lead to the automatic deduction from the linked account to this on-board unit. Thus, now you are not required to wait at any toll plaza, and there will be an automatic deduction system which will be linked to your on-board unit. Thus, it is going to save you a lot of time. At the same time, remember that under our existing toll system, the toll is charged based upon the distance between the two tolls. So even if the user like me or you exit this lane before itself, we still need to pay for the full run. But now you are going to pay only for the actual distance which you traveled on this particular national highway. Thus, it is obvious that the toll cost will come down. At the same time, we will do the arcades which will be mounted with CCTV cameras, and it will provide us the images of high security registration plate. Now, the operational cost will also come down, because we do not need to create those big toll plazas, and at the same time the number of intermediaries involved in the transferring of these funds will also reduce. Thus, it is going to provide a lot of benefits to the Indian economy. However, there are certain challenges which still persist, such as the challenges which we are going to face in the recovery of the toll. For example, let's say that as a user, you use the national highway. But while you are exiting this national highway, you do not have any money in the wallet which is linked to on-board unit. Then how the government is going to recover the toll? At the same time, now you have become a non-compliant vehicle, but there exist no tolls to keep a check on you, no toll plazas. So now there exists a barrier-free movement, and thus the government will have no mean to stop you or your vehicle even if you have not paid the tolls. At the same time, there exists the absence of an automatic number plate recognition infrastructure in the country. And the kind of quality of licensing system which is required for this ANPR infrastructure, that exists only in some mega cities. Also, it can lead to the violation of right to privacy, because it is going to provide for a state surveillance system continuously on each and every moment of the citizen because of a tracking device, that is on board unit, which is going to violate your right to privacy guaranteed as a fundamental right under Article 21 in the landmark judgment of KS Puttaswamy case 2017. At the same time, there can be various legal complications which can arise, because now the government will need to amend the National Highway Fees Rules 2008 to provide for various kind of violations, and at the same time enlist several kind of offences. Thus, we can predict that to implement such new toll collection system, a proper comprehensive legal framework is required. And at the same time, there shall be a phase-wise implementation to first check the viability of such toll collection system. With these suggestions, we move forward to the next news of the day. One of the cheetahs brought to Madhya Pradesh Kuno National Park from South Africa, named Gamini, recently gave birth to 5 cubs, thus making the Project Cheetah and Kuno National Park holds very important for your upcoming prelims examination under the theme of current affairs. So let's first try to read in brief about the Project Cheetah, which was launched in the year 2022. The Indian cheetahs became extinct in the year 1952 due to excessive killing and poaching of these carnivore species. For example, the last 3 cheetahs which existed in our country were shot in the year 1952 by the Maharaja named Ramanujan Dio of Surguja state in Guru Ghasidas National Park, which is currently in the state of Chhattisgarh. Now, to reintroduce this keystone species of grassland region, 20 cheetahs were brought from the South Africa and Namibia. Even though 7 of these cheetahs died, however, with the birth of 12 cubs since January 2024, it has given a lot of hope to the forest officials. This Project Cheetah is implemented by National Tiger Conservation Authority. Keep this in mind from the prelims perspective that it is a statutory body which was created under Wildlife Protection Act of 1972 in the year 2005. And this National Tiger Conservation Authority is headed by the Minister of Environment. and it is also implemented by Wildlife Institute of India, which is an autonomous organization under the Ministry of Environment, and this was created in the year 1982. Now these cheetahs, they give birth to litter of cubs, and the gestation period exists for around 90 to 95 days. Now there are two kinds of major cheetahs which are found around the world, being the African cheetah and the Asiatic cheetah. Now this African cheetah, which you can see on the left, they are slightly brownish and have golden skin. At the same time, they have more prominent spots and lines on their face in comparison to Asiatic cheetah, which has less prominent spots. At the same time, these Asiatic cheetahs are smaller and thinner than their African counterpart. Also, these African cheetahs are found all over the African continent, and thus they are listed as vulnerable on the IUCN Red List of Threatened Species. However, this Asiatic cheetah, which became extinct in India in 1952, is now in current time found only in Iran, and their number is as low as 30 to 40. Thus, they are listed as critically endangered on the IUCN list. Now, to reintroduce these cheetahs into our country, the Kuno National Park was chosen because of its suitable habitat and prey base which it provides to these cheetahs. So let's read in brief about the Kuno National Park. The habitat which is suitable for African cheetah or Asiatic cheetah is kind of savanna type of grassland which is found in the Kuno National Park. Also, there are certain kind of trees which are very unique to the Kuno National Park, such as kardhai, khair and salai trees, which are normally found in the dry deciduous forest. Beside this, the Kuno National Park also holds evergreen riverine forest because a major river, that is Kuno, which is basically the tributary of Chambal, traverses across this national park. This national park, which is abode of green life and various kind of fauna and flora, lies in the range of Vindhya mountains and in the district of Shiopur in the state of Madhya Pradesh. Now remember this, that so that Asiatic cheetah or African cheetah does not have a major competition, the Kuno National Park was chosen because there exists only one major predator in Kuno National Park beside these cheetah, and that is leopard. Again, the Kuno National Park offers various kind of fauna such as sambar deer, chausinga or four-horned antelope. Then there is black buck, gaur or Indian bison. Then there is wild dog, also called as dhole. We can also see wolves, jackals and the Indian gazelles or the chinkaras in the Kuno National Park. Now keep this in mind that the state of Madhya Pradesh holds the distinction for being the state with the highest number of national parks, which currently stands at 11. And some of the major national parks are listed on the map, such as Panna National Park, Bandhavgarh National Park, Satpura National Park. Then you can see the Palpur Kuno Wildlife Sanctuary here. Also, there is Kanha Tiger Reserve and the Kaval Wildlife Sanctuaries. Keep these important national parks and protected areas very dear to you for the upcoming prelims, and we move forward to the last news of the day. AMCA or Advanced Medium Combat Aircraft has been in the news because recently the Cabinet Committee on Security cleared a 15,000 crore project to design and develop AMCA or Advanced Medium Combat Aircraft, which forms an important component of your GS3 paper under the larger theme of science and technology and sub-theme of defense technology. So let's try to inquire about the AMCA, which will become India's 5th generation multi-role fighter jet. For example, the Light Combat Aircraft or Tejas is a 4.5th generation multiple role fighter jet. This is going to put India into a selected list of countries such as USA, which has an F-32 Raptor, or China, which has a J-20 Dragon, or Russia, which has a Sukhoi Su-57 5th generation fighter jet. This will be designed and programmed by Aeronautical Development Agency and Defense Research and Development Organization DRDO. And it will be manufactured by Hindustan Aeronautical Limited or HAL. Now normally with other fighter jets, if they have external fuel tanks, they leave a lot of signature which can be detected by the radar. However, with AMCA, it will have a large concealed internal fuel tank and an internal weapons bay, thus providing it several kind of stealth feature. As we can see from the infographic as well, it will be able to block the direct line of sight to the engine fan blades, thus hiding them from the incoming radar. At the same time, it will have a trapezoidal wing which will improve the stealth characteristic by deflecting the radar waves in different directions. Also, it will have a twin engine of Mk1 and Mk2. Now, this Mk1 engine is provided by United States of America and it has a 90 kilonewton power. However, this Mk2, which will be designed by DRDO, will be an indigenously developed engine and it will have a power of 110 kilonewton. At the same time, a special feature of this AMCA is that it has an integrated vehicle health management system, where the vehicle will have a real-time update of the condition of all its various structure and components. Thus, it will provide for a long time uses and very less serviceability. Thus, we have covered the important features of AMCA or Advanced Medium Combat Aircraft. However, there are certain challenges which persist with Indian Air Force, such as it is being the short of the 42 sanctioned squadron strength. IAF currently has only 30. At the same time, keep this in mind that several of our important fighter jets such as Sukhoi 30 is going to be dispatched or discarded by the year of 2030 to 2035. And at the same time, the development of this AMCA will take at least 5 to 10 years of time. Thus, we need to invest more in our defense capabilities and increase the squadron strength of Indian Air Force. With these suggestions, we have reached to the end of the discussion today. Do not forget to attempt the questions at the end of the video and test your knowledge. We will meet in a very interesting session very soon. Till then, all the very best for your preparation and thank you.